I'm fired up having a conversation about somebody who I admire. I don't know him personally, but I admire the moves he makes as a scientist, as an engineer, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and as a pioneer. And that would be Mr. Elon Musk. So Musk is in the news a lot right now, as always. This time it's for wanting to open up his Tesla facility in California. And he stood and said, look, if you're going to come arrest somebody with a shelter in place and me bringing people back to work, his non-unionized plant, by the way, you should arrest me first. And I think he, as of this morning, had stared down the bureaucrats, and they are allowing him to open up his facility. And so it's the actions of Musk that always impress me, the fearlessness of Musk. While we can have this discussion around responsibility, irresponsibility around the virus that we're going through right now and putting other people's lives at risk, I believe he's just opening up his facility, and he's representing opening up his facility. As he said, the sweeping authoritarian and undemocratic restrictions on individual liberty. And so, that's super interesting, because I'm not going to minimize this corona crisis at all. I do think it is being probably, I'm going to step over the line on this one. I think it's being misrepresented in the press as being more of a demon than it really is. It's just my personal opinion, and I'll probably get a lot of heat on this from Jamie and Miguel. But I have a hard time watching the fear-mongering that's going on all the time. And, when you look at somebody like Musk, Musk, who's, created more businesses between SpaceX, SolarCity, Tesla, PayPal in his lifetime, and he's still relatively young. And is he controversial? Yeah. Is he human? Yes. Is he going to make tons of mistakes? Absolutely. What I do admire and what he represents is the insane pursuit of things he believes in. And unfortunately, a lot of times people will point to his wealth, and he's only pursuing these Tesla moments, especially right now, because of wealth. And they'll point to and say the market cap of Tesla is now greater than, and I want to get this right, is greater than the big three combined, Ford, General Motors, and Fiat Chrysler. Okay, before the coronavirus pandemic, Tesla's share price soared even higher, totaling a market cap greater than the former big three. So people want to index back to it's all about the money, and I don't think it is with a guy like Musk. I don't think he's ever done it for the money. I don't think if you've read his moves over the years, SpaceX from an economics perspective was never pursued for money, and there's some great footage about him going through the first, second, and third launch and how he pretty much leveraged everything away for that, and if not but for. There's a great 60 Minutes piece on that. You can check it out on on YouTube. You can look at how he just remortgaged everything after his sale of his piece of the PayPal play. And then, SpaceX eventually became profitable, but I don't think he ever built it primarily for profit, just from the outside looking in and having a hunch how his brain works. And I don't think that he's building Tesla for wealth. He never demonstrates that. Certainly, does he fly around in private jets? Sure. Does he have a couple mansions? Sure. But I think, and by the way, I think he's selling them all right now and simplifying his life. But Musk represents the pursuit of something at the cost of everything else. And to judge somebody like that, I think is very odd. There are people who will live their lives with an intensity and a sacrifice that is foreign to most people. And I think that's what Musk is doing. He's living his life, and he's wanting to get his teammates back to work. And part of that will be, it's not a purist mentality. It's a you can't tell me what to do mentality. And that really resonates with me. I think that's one of the issues I've always had and why I couldn't work for somebody else. And those who sort of work with me know that is, I hate to be told what to do. And I think Musk does that as well. And that can get us in trouble sometimes. He ran into it with the SEC. And by the way, depending on how you want to put a W or an L in the column, he won that as well. He's done that with Tesla and opening up the facility out there. And I think it has less to do with Musk and more to do with the vision and burning the boats and everything that he does. So, he's living a life where he continues to pursue the improbable, and none of them are impossible because he's pretty much pulled them off. And that 99% of the world has an issue with getting their arms around that. And that's why 99% of the world also lives a compromised life, that they're more worried about what other people think or want to live by the rules and laws of other. And I'm not suggesting you be unlawful either in this. What I'm suggesting is you challenge the things that don't make sense rather than be a sheeple, right? A sheep or a person in one, where you stare at that box every day and all they do is rant and rave about the death and carnage that's coming, whether it's this or whether it's the terrorists who have attacked our country. But you can't allow Yuval Harari used this. You can't allow a fly. If you let a fly in a china shop loose, and you let it buzz around that china shop, and it could land on every single cup, saucer, vase in that china shop and not knock a single one over. You put that fly in the ear of a bull in that china shop, and that bull will wreck the shit out of that china shop. That amplification of getting that fly in the ear of that monster bull can wreck and destroy everything. And that's the way I see that the press is operating right now. I clearly think they have a responsibility to keep us aware of things that are going on. But I do think on the other side of that the press, the government, the bureaucrats have taken this virus and put it in the ear of a bull and have absolutely crushed sensibility. And there's going to be a lot of heat on this one, I know. But that's what I believe happened. And I think you need people like Musk and other people who are constantly fighting for the right to pursue what it is as long as they don't hurt somebody else. This country tends to beat those people down. I shouldn't say this country does. This country facilitates that. It's the bureaucrats and the government who will come in heavy afterwards and try and beat that down. And Musk is representing right now what's going on in the heads of a lot of executives. I can share with you because I talk to many, many executives in my business. And as long as they know that there's not a camera on or a microphone on, nearly every single one of them want to get back to work. And they want their people to get back to work. And they're willing to put in place safeguards, just like Musk is, that will, on a high level of probability, keep them as safe as going to the drugstore or the supermarket or anywhere else they would go in a typical day, as typical as days are over the last 90 days. And so these sweeping generalities by those who are bureaucratically in power are tone deaf, quite honestly, because they're not feeling the pain of the sweeping enforcement on now that fly in the ear of the bull. And so a guy like Musk is pursuing a passion, a vision. Nobody has to go to work in his facility if they don't want to come back to work. He's not forcing anybody, and I don't believe he's telling anybody they're going to lose their job. He's facilitating them re-entering back into a place that they can pay their bills and put their kids through school and pay their rent, because right now they can't. And you're always going to run across this. This is not going to be the first time we make this choice. You know, we are at war right now. And we were at war in the past fighting other countries. And we sent people head first into, for a cause, head first into Omaha Beach and head first into other landscapes of war. And this is just a different war that we can't seem to get our head wrapped around. This is a war against biology. And I just believe that Musk is representing a rationale about, you know, who is going to decide what is acceptable and not acceptable, whether we were sending boys and girls on the front lines of Vietnam or World War II. At that point, it was deemed acceptable by our politicians and for a good cause. And now there are politicians deeming that we should get back to work, and there are others that saying we shouldn't get back to work. It's not much of a different argument, in my opinion, over the years. But don't mistake Musk's purpose and vision. It's oftentimes people who have a deep purpose and vision, it's often labeled as irrational when you have that kind of commitment to something. And rationale is nothing more than a consensus of the masses. And people who are rational never do great things. So think about that for a second. You want to look at somebody like Musk as irrational. And rationale is agreement of the consensus of the masses, of the sheeple. He, in your mind, or in some others' minds, is being irrational. And rational people, one more time, have rarely changed the world. I'm Joe Mullings with Untitled and Unfiltered.